Got it. New Apple TV 4K 2022. As you know on the channel, I'm an Apple fan, Apple ecosystem user, iPhone, iPad, MacBook, Apple TV is my favorite streaming device by far. I was super excited when we actually did get a 2022 model after having a 2021 model 18-ish or so months ago. So I ordered up two of them. Of course, I'll be using one in the dedicated theater room and one in the living room. Dedicated theater projection setup, LG G2 in the living room. So let's open it up. Let's take a look at it. Let's compare it a little bit to the previous model. Talk about some of the differences and look for a whole bunch of content coming about this thing, impressions, tips, how-to, setups, and all of that. So here we go. Not a whole lot to the box, not a whole lot to the device. So here we are. We got film around the edges and film on the bottom. If we want to take a look, this is the 2021 in my left hand. This is the 2022 in my right hand. So we're a little less tall. The footprint actually is a little smaller as well. This is going to be maybe a bummer. I've got the hide it mount behind my LG G2 in the living room where the Apple TV just slides in there so nicely. I think it will still have enough space to hold this. This is actually one of the disappointing parts about this device, quite honestly, is they cheapened it up a little bit. So there's a pretty significant heft difference between these. So I did grab the kitchen scale, and we're talking about 417 grams for the 2021 model, 217-ish grams for the 2022 model. Again, disappointing. So why is that? Well, what did they take out? There's a fan in here. This thing is just built more rugged. Having found the guys selling that Apple TV X device, they had some other YouTube videos where they actually tore the 2021 model down and gave a lot of props to the hardware engineering of this device in terms of how the PCB is, the metal shielding, and that extra protection, right? That extra design that's sitting in here, that's where that weight's coming from. That stuff is kind of gone in the 2022 model. No fan, less just heft, less shielding, and all of that. You know, if they did that to reduce the price in that, I would have rather paid $200, Apple, to have you have built the 2022 model like the 2021 model. I would have happily paid $50 for extra protection, perhaps lower noise, and just better hardware engineering, especially with everything else that was packed in here. Even a little bit of a fan, you know, could potentially unlock more processor power for playing games and stuff like that. And of course, lowering noise and protecting from interference and all that, it could conceivably have noticeable benefits to audio and picture quality. That's why in a lot of high-end home theater stuff, you know, what do you see in the devices? What do you see people doing? It's better power supplies, linear power supplies, toroidal power supplies, shielding, protection, all of that sort of stuff to get the finest detail. That part's kind of a bummer. I wish, again, they could have kept the level of hardware engineering. And if you want to go cheap, well, go all the way cheap. Make the stick, right, and really dumb it down. Get it under $100 and all of that. But for the premium one, that would have been actually a better way to differentiate the fact that you've got two models still in the Apple TV lineup, which is make the one with the Ethernet port and the extra storage for the extra money, have come in this build, in this chassis, and just put the cheaper one in the box with no fan and all of that. I think that would have helped create better differentiation and a reason, more separation, a reason to have had two models in the current lineup, which, I don't know, in my opinion, could have just been one. But let's keep going on the box. So inside here, we just had the Apple TV itself. Pull that off. Here is our new Siri remote. This is the new one. This is the old one. Pretty much the same thing, except for right there, if the camera will focus, there we go, USB-C, Lightning. Get out of here, Lightning. Come on, USB-C. I cannot wait until everything I own, particularly from Apple as well, is universally USB-C. Everything my wife owns, everything my kids own, and I can eliminate Lightning from my life, and everything we have can plug in easily to the same cables. That will be awesome. Otherwise, I like this remote. I think this was a significant improvement when they made it originally last year as an upgrade from the old black one. With the touchpad, it's more sure, control, higher quality. Siri voice control with Apple TV is great, and they're investing in that with tvOS. There's more Siri improvements and capabilities coming in the coming iterations of tvOS 16. That's awesome. What else do we have in here? Of course, we have our power cord, normal-ish 2-prong type of power cord. So one of the things that I plan to tinker around with on my Apple TVs coming up, well, is of course hopefully checking out the Apple TV X. And if anybody would like to see Techthusiasm experiment and report on an Apple TV X, go to appletvx.com and tell them you would absolutely never ever consider buying this device unless Techthusiasm gives a full detailed accounting of how good it is. But in any case, one of the other things that I'm thinking about doing is maybe trying to replace this power cord with a beefier one, maybe a Pangea. I think Pangea for like 50 bucks makes a beefier power cord that would work with the same connector. Hey, free returns on Amazon. Plug it in. If it cleans up, reduces some noise, whatever that might be, of the video and audio performance of the Apple TV, that's great. But in any case, I think this is still a nice power cord overall, but it's a power cord. It's not that exciting. And that's really it in the box. We've got a little bit of documentation-ish stuff. I guess they're going more eco-friendly. The power cord didn't actually have any of their usual kind of plasticky wrap holding it together. It's just spooled up and put in this now larger piece of cardboard, I suppose, that people would throw away. Instead of the plastic, what do you want to discard? A little bit of plastic or significantly more cardboard? But I don't throw this stuff away. In any case, I keep the box. I'll be upgrading to the next one and selling these. Here's a little pro tip as well, something that I like to do, because I have 2 entertainment spaces and I run some of the same types of things, and we have multiples of some other Apple devices and that around the house, is I always keep the boxes. Again, when resale comes, you want the boxes, you want the packaging, you want all of that. So I make little sticky notes and I put them in there so that I know this is the box for the theater Apple TV. I don't have to worry about matching up serial numbers and all of that later on, or if it goes bad and I need to do some warranty thing or whatever it might be. So whenever I have multiples of the same device, real easy, put the sticky note in the box and keep track of which one went where, if I ever need to know that in the future. One other interesting thing to note that I'm seeing here, the old model had power, HDMI, and Ethernet. The new model has power, Ethernet, and HDMI. I don't know if there's anything to that, separating out the video connection away from the power delivery part of the circuit board. That seems like smart hardware engineering. If that makes any tangible difference or that was done on purpose, it would be interesting. Interesting to know, to see the architectural specs and design reviews that went into the decisions that companies make for products like this. All right, there we are, one down in the rack. Just for reference there, the whole home theater rack. This will be the one that serves the dedicated theater room. Got it powered on, booted up, starting up there. Take a look at the back. As we said, power, Ethernet, and HDMI plugged into the rack, and then the HDMI, of course, going down, 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 and into the AVM70 for the theater room. All right, and there we are installed in the living room. This is the hide-it mount for the 2021 Apple TV 4K. You can see the 2022 quite a bit smaller, but it'll be fine. It'll hang in there just fine. Wired in the same way. I had the old one, same Ethernet cable, same HDMI cable. Of course, did use the new power cord. I'll get rid of the old power cord with the old device. This is booting up. Let's take a look at it. All right, go through some initial setup here. There we go, got the remote. Apple TV remote, the USB-C one running, English language, US region, data and privacy, sure. Gotta love the integration with Apple services. Let's try the quick method setup with the iPhone. Again, one of the coolest things about being in the Apple ecosystem, the integration between the devices. Of course, I'm using the phone to record this video that I needed to authenticate my device, so it really was just a matter of taking the phone over by the Apple TV, look for the pop-up, hit yeah, okay, sync everything together on my iCloud account, type in the 4-digit code, wait a second, and good to go. So I don't use the passwords for purchases. Settings from your iPhone, Siri, etc., etc. We can just continue with that. Have a TV provider. I do use YouTube TV right now, but I'm not going to mess with that at the moment. We'll skip it. One home screen on every Apple TV. Absolutely. Again, one of the best elements of the whole Apple ecosystem is the ability to have this stuff sync and work and everything. So iCloud will keep your Apple TVs in sync when you change apps, when you change devices, and so on. So where's this Apple TV? We're going in the living room here. Aerial screensavers, yep, automatically download, that's fine with me. Because we have the OLED and we use this zone for a lot of music, we have the screensavers play in our environment quite a bit. Let's get through terms and conditions, sign my life away and all of that. Yeah, we can try Dolby Vision. I know Dolby Vision will work. We'll set up some settings here, some key settings in a moment. There's our Dolby Vision sync. Yay, it worked, but of course we're not going to leave it in Dolby Vision mode all the time. So here's the cool part. There you go. The default UI came up. Notice the flip, and it's automatically downloading all the apps that I had configured on my 2021 model. It's putting them on the home screen in the same places. Love it. iCloud Sync, one home screen for all your Apple TVs. The only reason that I wouldn't think about using the one home screen is the fact that I don't really play games so much on the theater room Apple TV. When we play games, we'll do it in the living room Apple TV. So do we really need to have the games installed on both? Well, probably not, but that's another byproduct, happily, of the new model. 128 gigabytes of storage should be plenty now. So that's no longer a concern. One of my pain points with the 2021 model is that Infuse would dump its metadata. I think I was coming up against the storage limits of the box, having a bunch of games installed, having a variety of apps, having all the metadata for my locally ripped media with Infuse. And so you go to use Infuse and it would say, oh, you know, we got to refresh the metadata cache. And then you're waiting for that to happen before you can actually access your media in your apps. So I was getting inclined to maybe not to do the one home screen sync so that I could remove the games, at least from the theater Apple TV, but they solved the problem for me. No worries at all now with 128 gig of storage. So things are continuing to install here. It usually installs a couple apps at a time. Nice and quick. Of course, on wired Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet through the house, gigabit internet service as well. Makes all of this stuff super quick. And if you haven't checked out Apple Arcade and Apple TV Gaming, I really suggest you do. It's pretty good. There's a lot of really great stuff in there, honestly. Sneaky Sasquatch, we love that one, and a few others. I actually would have had more games even loaded, but I deloaded them because of that Infuse problem. We'll get this started here, fire up Infuse. I guess it didn't take the settings, so I'll have to reconnect Infuse to my server. It can reparse its metadata, all of that. I'll do that one separately, and we'll be talking about Infuse in more videos coming up. As it is, let's take a look at settings and kind of sweep through some general settings. Now, it should have taken a variety of settings from the iCloud settings themselves. Because I have an OLED, because we leave it on in the living room zone here for music, I do use the screensavers. I do often use the dark appearance, but it's also nice to do the automatic mode, I think, so it goes dark at night and it's lighter during the day. With an LG G2, I'm not actually really worried about burn-in or anything like that. Not a whole lot here to manage. It's got time zone settings and all of that taken care of. Don't really need to do anything with users and accounts. So here we go, video and audio. I don't want you running 4K Dolby Vision. We're gonna run 4K SDR at 60 Hertz for the UI. And we will be using the match frame rate options. HDMI output, video levels. Yes, I'm outputting to a TV. 444 chroma, uncompressed. That's perfect as well. Here's our match content. I like both of these. So the TV, between the Apple TV and the TV, that will switch into HDR modes, or Dolby Vision modes when it needs to. It'll switch to 24 Hertz modes when it needs to. No need to check the HDMI connection. I think this is a new feature, tap to zoom video. I haven't messed with that yet. Audio output, we're gonna go to the TV speakers. And an awesome feature outputting into the LG here is that even though I'm outputting to a TV that then is outputting to my 2.2 channel setup in this room, I do use Atmos. I use the Atmos setting because I want it to output the Dolby Atmos signals. And I'll go into detail on that in a future video about why to do that if you can with this specific type of setup and why I think it's better. The rest of these are all pretty good. We're not going to get into calibration and color balance, and otherwise here we're pretty good. I think we will have to resync the video game controllers for gaming and all of that. It's picking up my AirPods nearby. The remote's fully charged, USB-C remote. I don't want this though, of course. No desire to control TV and receivers, and I will end up setting this back up with my IR extension, and there's a separate video for that on the channel. I can control the volume of my Anthem STR via the Apple TV remote in IR, but I'll have to learn that separately. Not much here in accessibility. Apps, I do like automatic updates, but not automatic install. If I do install something on my iPad or my iPhone, I don't want it always necessarily getting installed on the Apple TV. Network's looking good. We're wired up there. Do a check for updates just in case they pushed a new one. I'm gonna have to re-unlock the developer debug settings and all of that. So there are some things to do here ahead of being fully back in operational. So we'll do the regular update. I will turn the betas on. I should have probably done that. Could have done one update. Now we'll have to do two. No big deal there, but I'm not gonna make you wait and watch the software updates. So there we are, we're underway. Apple TV 4K 2022 models. Got a bunch of stuff to do here. I'll be making a whole bunch of content about these. Recommendations, suggestions, how-tos, all of that. I gotta get this thing back set up for my Control 4 automation system to be able to command it. You do that through HomeKit, probably be able to do a dedicated video on that. So you tell me, what do you want to see me talk about? What do you want to see me show you about Apple TV? And of course, once I get it all fired up, fully working again, I'm going to be jumping in all those games, looking at all those apps, checking all those streaming technicals now, using the new model instead of the 2021 for the videos going forward. There's one more video from the time of recording this for the streaming technicals that I already made using the 2021 model. That's the Apple TV Plus exclusives, but everything after the Apple TV video, that's the Apple TV Plus video that's coming, will be now on the 2022 model. Will we be pleasantly surprised? Will the streaming bit rates magically increase with the new model? Probably not, but hey, one can hope, right? So sound off in the comments. Ask those questions. Did you get one of these? Did you fire it up? What do you think about it? Do you notice anything? I love the Apple TV. Get in touch with those Apple TV X people and tell them that Techthusiasm needs to review an Apple TV X. Otherwise, please do all the regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Check out the prior Apple TV videos here on the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, many ways to do that. Super thanks, channel memberships, and if you're buying Apple products, buy them on Amazon. Use my Amazon affiliate links. Anything that you might do is greatly appreciated. Thanks so much. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun.